Good evening, sister and brothers. This is Sister Deanne, Melanin Report 360, the Melanin Report 360, the Melanin Report 360. Follow, share, and like. Follow, share, and like. Follow, share, and like. So let's get into it. There's been a lot of news today, and I want to tap on a few things because it is kind of overwhelming in ways. It's just a little disturbing right now because folks are really um, our lives, some of our lives, not everyone, is hanging in the balance on the what they're going to do in Congress. You know, and so let's go ahead and read our fair use copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So there we go. It's an exhausting time right now. I think if you're sometimes the strong will survive. Obviously, we are the strong, but overwhelmingly, it's discouraging because we're seeing proof positive the actions or inactions of the people that we're paying salary. You know, the legislators. I'm not understanding the quick to slow down the process. I'm not understanding why you would choose. Folks are suffering. What's going on. Black, white, red, yellow. I mean, it's just why do you have to negotiate $2,000? I mean, in the big picture, that's not a lot of money, but it's a lot of money for most. And so, because we recognize the importance of 2,000, let's just say, dollars, that could be a difference of, 2 meals a day versus 1 meal a day. And some people are, they're down to that. Am I going to pay for medication or am I going to have at least one good meal a day? And these are people that have homes, they're struggling. I mean, the list goes on. So I'm not understanding, well, maybe I am. It seems like this society that we live in, we are, we know that it's corrupt, but so many people are being infected with this coronavirus. My thoughts only. There seems to be an agenda. The agenda is, the fact that you cannot visit a person. If they're on the ventilator, what have you. It doesn't seem like there is a just, one person could be in the room, but why is it that no one can be in the room? No family member, people are dying alone. So it makes you wonder what's really going on. This is a sad state of affairs. Now, I know it's not happening only in this country. But it seems like the fact that other countries are handling it much better, the numbers are going down. They're only talking about the United States because they recognize that this country has failed its citizens, it has failed on so many fronts, so many fronts. And so, by me saying this has been a total disaster where you can only wonder what XYZ administration would have done. Could they have been more on top of it? Could there have been less deaths? We don't know. But clearly, this guy is, on vacation, you know, at his compound. So it doesn't seem like the Republicans or the Democrats, they're all about the same. They're about the same. But it doesn't seem like Mitch McConnell actually object to I don't know, we need to send his behind home. If you're in Kentucky, he's had so many terms. I think he has been reelected countless numbers of times. So I'm not understanding because he is the head guy of the Republican Party. A lot of people are following suit. Just stay in peace. But Trump, I'm not understanding because Trump wanted the 2000. I guess he's going to just say, bankrupt this. I'm not going to use the B word, but bankrupt this country because he don't even give a damn anymore, obviously. But let us look at Canada, for example. Canada has been, because they had economic downturn and downsized, and they've been paying their citizens $2,000 a month. A month. I don't know when it started, but they are definitely paying their citizens $2,000 a month. Okay. So this country being the best nation, we always quote unquote pride ourselves with being the best nation and we have our stuff together. Do we? Over 300,000 people supposedly have died to date and still counting. Hundreds were dying, nationally, hundreds a day. Now it's thousands a day. The fact that they are not allowing closest family members, husband, wife, partner, blah, 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 or child, if the partner or spouse is deceased, but they're dying alone. These people are dying alone. So the deviance of this country, I'm not really comfortable in knowing that people are dying alone and it's not, I could see if they could be tested, and say, oh, you're negative, you can go ahead in the room. And it's all isolated and blah, blah, blah. They're just saying off the grid, no one is coming in to see COVID-19 patients. So why is that? Are we recognizing the severity of this? Even though maybe 10%, no, it can't be that high. 5%, let's just say 5% of the global population will have it or have had it, and they survived and they're, no symptoms or whatever. There's so many pockets of you have symptoms, you don't need hospitalization, You can get over it, say in 2 or 3 weeks. You have symptoms, and you kind of turn the page and you become negative. So the fact that we're doing such an extreme measure of allowing, people to die solo in their own room, and no other family members, no one can bear witness as to what's going on. Like, what's really going on? You know, I'm asking that question myself, because the fact that it's being escalated, the numbers are going up. Um, there's a lot of people who have lost their homes. I know that I don't know anyone personally, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who have lost or in the process of losing their home or apartment. So this is dire time. This is a dire time. That's why we have to meditate, pray, or whatever your belief is. Meditate, focus, walk, get some fresh air, um, exercise. If you cannot exercise at a health club, I told you about investing in a jump rope, yoga mat, do some stretches, get your heart rate up, and just walk. We have beautiful parks here in the valley, so put plenty of hiking trails. It was kind of brisk this today. I think it was 59. I may have broken 60, but it was kind of chilly. I just took my hat off not so long ago. It was really, I got the heat up, but it was really chilly willy nilly. So, not like Brooklyn, New York days, but it was close to it. It was really, really close to it. Yeah, let's go back. But we have to pay attention. We have to pay attention, because for 5% of, let's just say on the safe side, there's 10% of people who have had COVID, recovered, and then some people required ventilators, and some people came off of the ventilator. So it's an array of conversations. So at the very best, people recover, they convert back to negative, they go home. Okay. So you don't hear about those cases. You hear primarily about the deaths, the deaths. In fact, one of the networks I've been watching periodically throughout the day, they have like a grid on one side, and it shows, it's like, I don't care what they're talking about. Obviously, they're talking about COVID-19. There's nothing else really going on in the world, even though we know there is. They're just focus, focus, focus. So they have the little side, I forgot which network, but they have a little side um, bar. It's fixed, and the person is a little smaller in the optics. So I guess it's maybe 20% of the viewing of it. But they have the totals, the deaths, the cases, and I'm like, this is a constant reminder of death and destruction, and this is why I think this country really doesn't know fundamentally how to not only take care of their citizens, but take care of people nationwide. There was another shooting. I did not go over I didn't want to. Everything has just been so escalating this year, but I knew there was another shooting. The details, I did not really want to go into it. This conversation maybe tomorrow, but we don't know how to take care of Black and brown people. and then we don't know how to take care of um, older people. It's just so many segments of our population we just don't care about. We literally, you just don't hear the concern. I mean, individually, yes, but a global conversation, you don't hear about there being mad rush of peace. There's very little peace protests, just being peaceful, being, you know, comfortable going out front. Just because we don't receive, because there is like a little less of, what am I trying to say? We try to celebrate, obviously life in and of itself. But when we have to take to the streets because there's another senseless murder, especially of our people, black and brown people, that's not peace. If we went, 5 days without a shooting, you know, so of an unarmed black man or black woman. So this is not victory. This is not victory. We should be able to live in peace. How is it that this is the greatest country in the world, but people cannot live peacefully? That's like, how can that happen in this society? I don't think it was built for it to be a certain way. It was built for the death and destruction of black and brown people. My words. Because if it wasn't, there would be reparations. They would have a public apology. There would be some sense of repayment, and that way you wipe the slate clean. We've given you, it's not going to be enough because, a couple $1 million would not be enough because of generations upon generations of bloodshed and rape, sodomy, etc. of our people. So no monetary will be enough. With that said, we can grapple with a number. Okay. So that would be the wiping the slate clean, giving um, reparations, try to repair the nation. And we are a nation, 30 million or 40 million, 30 to 40 million in this country of black and brown people. So why is that? Why, if we can be repaired, because they probably would be more killings, more death, more destruction of our people. They know that because we are living amongst former slave owners. That's all I can say. That haven't had any like therapy. They haven't had any kind of good within themselves. They don't appear to be less than because they've gone through therapy. There should be therapy from, grade school on up, like 20, 21. Definitely when you live in the country is becoming browner and browner, and you're Caucasian, and so there could be an internal self-identity problem. You may feel internally, I don't want to say subhuman. I'm not going to use that word. I'm going to say inadequate. That's a good word. Inadequate. because the country is becoming browner and browner. And because it's becoming browner and browner, there's, race soldiers, they're in uniform, police uniforms. They are in, fire, fire and rescue. They are race soldiers in all facets of life. In fact, there was a TikTok, I think someone shared with me a TikTok video of, I think it was a nurse, forgot where she was, maybe the Carolinas, I don't want to quote that, but she was given the symbol of, I guess, white supremacy, white supremacists. And that's what I'm saying. So they're in all areas, where we see doctors, lawyers, physicians, the list goes on. Because Trump would not have received that many votes. He should have gotten 10% of the vote of the electorate. But he was, under 7 million, I think he lost by. That's a whole lot of people. Not trying to say Trump is what we know him to be, but Republicans, Democrats, I know a lot of people will say, Deanne, they're not the same. But I don't agree with that right now. I don't agree with that. It might be 1 or 2% better because they're not outward with it, but clearly there is a gap of sincerity and optimism and kumbaya moment. I mean, I think I want to say they have their foot on our neck or their knee on our neck. Okay, maybe not as deeply as the Republicans, but their knee is on our neck. I'll just leave it like that. So their knee is on our neck. So with that, I'm not clear on the end game. I'm really not clear on the end game because I feel that there is a level of insincerity. The stakes a little bit higher now because death and destruction is on our doorstep or our footsteps. We're walking into it. Cancel. But what I'm saying is, figuratively speaking, we are aligning ourselves and reminding ourselves to the destruction. So I'm going to say, I'm hoping that I will make a point of not talking about COVID-19 again this year. I know the New Year's Friday, but we have to pause and know our gifts, know who we are. Because with that, I think that we will get through this. I'm going to be very, very optimistic. We will get through this because of the blessings from our ancestors. I know I just recently found out a cousin of mine, first person that I personally know about. I have a kitten and she's trying to do something, and please don't do that. Okay. Trying to pull the cord out of the wall. So apologize for that. Yeah, my cousin, I found out she's early 80s, I want to say. She's got children, grandchildren, great grandchildren. But yeah, she is the only person on my mother's side that I know of. I can say, oh, well, she has COVID. My mother just had that conversation with me today. So a shout out to the cousin and, She's not in the hospital. I don't think she had any underlining concerns or medical, other than being in the age group, which is a little bit more, definitely more at risk. But like my mother flew out here and she flew back to her area, cross country. She's fine. She's never tested positive, you know. So not everyone is testing positive. We have to keep that in mind. But because they are really putting it front and center, I haven't heard any news like global news. I'm just trying to figure out which. I try to watch CNN International. I think that is a good step in the direction of getting other news, because everything is COVID, COVID, COVID. I mean, they want us to be drowned in COVID-19, and that way, you will have a reason to get the uh, vaccine. So I was in communication with a relative in Brooklyn. She's back and forth texting today, and she said, "Okay, she just pulled the cord out. Oh my gosh! All right, one moment, please." All right. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. Um, she's going on her way. She's just 4 months, so she's doing the fun 4-month-old silly stuff. Okay, so back to um, my relative who we were texting today. So she said that there's a rumor. She's in Brooklyn. So she said there's a rumor that the COVID-19 vaccine is HIV positive. That's a serious rumor, if it is any level of truth. This is where we are. Even the rumor, when you think about stuff, you're like, could that be? Could that be? Excuse me, one moment. Water is great when you live in the desert. You appreciate water. Yeah, so this is what we talked about, or we text back and forth today. And she sent me the picture of, okay, hopefully she will not be shocked. Okay. So anyway, she sent me a picture of Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. She was the optics of her getting the COVID vaccine. They're driving that home. They're driving the vice president-elect, the president-elect, the vice president-elect. They've taken optics when they get the vaccine. Are you freaking kidding me? So, like I said, I sent a text back to my cousin, and I said, it could be 100% saline. I mean, there's a hidden agenda, and I just want everyone to stay safe and do the very best you can in eating right, you know, social distancing. Everything we're doing now is just, I don't think it's going to come back, like I said, in 6 months. I'd be very, very surprised. But just do to keep the peace. If you go into a store, mask up. Everywhere I went today, Home Depot. I went to a couple of thrift stores, and I went. I went to Cox. Some other places. Now, most of the afternoon. But clearly, there is an agenda. Don't be fooled. If you're paying any level of attention, you should see, you should feel that they're revving up for something. I'm going to I have my passport. I've got to renew it. It's probably up for renewal. I have maybe one more year. I just have to review that. I think I've been out here 7 years, and it's really close. It's really close. So I'm going to have my passport updated. Just in case some stuff goes down, I won't be flat-footed. So I'm gonna be prepared. Like I was in the Girl Scouts, so I learned to be prepared back in the many years ago. So yeah, I really want to focus on other things in the weeks to come, and I just wanted to have a little snippet of my thoughts on the COVID-19. So number one, I think they will maybe try to do a required to travel. I haven't taken that off the table. To go into schools, they're probably gearing up. And these are babies. These are like people under 18. I'm like, what? The immune system, as I shared before, is the strongest system in our body. I mean, the fact that they're making out to be, you know, if I come home from, XYZ place and I came into some germs, I wash my hands, that should be it. But they make it sound like the immune system isn't the system, it's a fighting system. Because we come across so many bugs and germs and this and that. Especially, I was living in Brooklyn the first 22, 3 years of my life. And, you know, you're talking about germs, um, subways and railings. If you walk up with, using the handrail, and I mean, germs up the yin yang, you could really, really do some harm if you believed all of that. Because we base our lives in truth, we know truth from fiction. We can have a clear understanding of perhaps maybe not what the end game is, but what's in the middle here. So, like I said, eat well, exercise, eat well, exercise, get fresh air, blah, blah, blah. I walked Sunday to a park about a mile or two down, and it just felt so good to not have a mask on. I was like, woo. Clearly, we have to pay attention to what's going on. We must pay attention to what's going on, because if we don't, as we've heard from other people, we can be on the list of the sheeple, and that would not be good. So I feel, unless it's something dramatic that happens before the year is out, I really want to focus on other things, other topics, because the COVID-19 is front and center, and now the what Congress is going to do. So I don't want to get inundated in that way you get inundated with COVID-19. because if we put more energy into it, it will take root. It'll take over our every thought. We'll go into the paranoia. Thank you. Excuse me. We'll go into the paranoia and the weird stuff, you know. And that's not my agenda. That's not my personal agenda, because I want to speak truth to power. Yes. I want you to be informed. Yes. I want you to have your lights on. Yes. So anything less than that, that's not what I want to do. That's not my intention. I just want to inform anyone who's under my voice, so you recognize what's truth and what's false. Because there is an agenda, and I don't know how far out they've looked at all of this stuff and what the requirements are going to be, let's just say next year this time, because I don't plan to get the vaccine. I'm putting that, front and center. I will not get the vaccine. Okay. My immune system, I've had a couple of bumps in the road on this physical body. But I will say my immune system is one of the strongest, as it should be. And I'm not going to be hoodwinked to doing anything that's contrary to my beliefs and wellness, because once you get this inoculation, I mean, not the vaccine, sorry, the vaccine, you can't even sue the manufacturer who developed the vaccine. You need to read that fine print. And the other thing is, it came out so quickly, or maybe they had it, in the back of the garage. I don't know. It supposedly came out so quickly, and they rushed it through. I worked in the medical field for many years. And I know how things can be a little rushed along if there is an agenda. And so I feel that this is what needs to happen, because we can do better, and it'll be fine. We can do better, and it will be fine. So with that, I'm gonna close out. This is Deanne coming at you live, the Melanin Report 360. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and send me comments. I love reading comments. All right. Take care. Peace. Be well.